What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. Before we get into today's content, I do want to keep you guys updated on cornerback Keon Martin, who John Harbaugh confirmed today stayed in Cleveland last night as they were monitoring a chest injury. Now, Harbaugh did go on to say that it looks like he's okay, and we'll see how that progresses over the next 24 hours. But, of course, big injury right there for a UDFA who's been making a name for himself so far in 2025. Want to start off by updating you guys on the latest with his status. All right, on to the rest of today's video. Week 11's over. We are on to Week 12. That means we are on to the New York Jets as Baltimore goes back home for the first time in a while. It is crazy that we are already over halfway through November and well over halfway through the 2025 NFL season. The last time the New York Jets took the football field was on Thursday Night Football, and it did not go well, just pretty much like every single game for them so far this season. They lost to the Patriots by 13. Justin Fields went 15 for 26, 116 yards, and a touchdown. And after that game, a lot of people were asking new head coach Aaron Glenn what was going to happen with the quarterback position for the rest of the season. He said, quote, "Everything is open," and he meant everything, because the news came down earlier today that the New York Giants have benched Justin Fields in favor of veteran Tyrod Taylor ahead of the Week 12 matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. A league source confirmed, and pretty much everybody else confirmed that today as well. That's the news we're breaking down. I'm going to tell you what that means for Baltimore and what to expect in this Week 12 matchup for the rest of today's content. But if this is your first time here, make sure you are subscribed, and I want to give a big shout out to the 41,535 people who have already subscribed to the channel. We passed 41K yesterday, and so just a big thank you to each and every single one of you. We've been growing like crazy this season. We've been growing like crazy over the last year and a half, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. Our next nice whole number, 41.6K. We're 66 subs away from that. So if you have not joined us yet, help us reach our goals by subscribing. All right, let's get on to the news about Justin Fields, as he will be sitting on the bench this upcoming Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens. And there's a good reason as to why. Frankly, he has not been good enough this year. They signed him in free agency. It was a big splash move at the time. A guy with an incredibly high ceiling, just like they argued in Chicago, just like they argued in Pittsburgh, just like they argued in the beginning of this season in New York. And unfortunately, things just did not go as planned. Only 6 touchdown passes through 8 games, just over 1,100 yards, 63.5% completion percentage. But if you get into the advanced metrics, you see kind of where he ranks throughout the rest of the quarterback competitions. Negative 33.5 expected points added for him this season. That's 26th best in the National Football League. His EPA per drop back is negative 0.13, meaning every time he dropped back to pass the football, technically the expected points added for the New York Jets was negative 0.13, 28th best. His air yards per attempt, 6.8, 28th best there as well. And that's an important stat, because a lot of times, if you have an expected points added per drop back that is one of the lowest in the National Football League, sometimes you can look and say, oh, well, they just sling it down the field, right? They like to make a lot of big throws, but he does not. He's a little bit of a check down Charlie and still has an EPA per drop back that's that bad. So they're going to Tyrod Taylor. And this is not going to be the first time we've seen Tyrod Taylor start for the Jets this season. He did start against Tampa Bay in Week 3. Then it was because of an injury to Justin Fields, but he completed 72.7% of his passes, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception on the day. And the reason we're talking about this, guys, and this is such big news for Sunday's game, is because honestly, to me, it feels like New York is probably better with Taylor at the helm than Justin Fields. And I know that sounds crazy, but think of it like Kyler Murray in the Arizona Cardinals. There's a reason that he has not come back from his injury and that they're just rolling with Jacoby Brissett, because they just feel like Jacoby Brissett can push the ball down the field more consistently. And so often in the National Football League, it's just how many shots can you get on goal? How many possessions can you give your team in the red zone? Tyrod Taylor does not have near the high ceiling that Justin Fields does. He's not near as hurtful to opposing defenses with his legs, but he's just far more consistent, can make the routine throws, and does so much better at keeping it out of harm's way than Justin Fields does. Who would you rather face on Sunday, Taylor or Fields? You let me know down below by giving me a TT if it's Tyrod Taylor or a JF if you think it's Justin Fields. Regardless, those quarterbacks are going to have to go against one of the best defenses in the National Football League over the last 5 weeks, because did you know the Ravens have allowed fewer than 20 points in their last 5 games, 5 consecutive, dating back to Week 6. That's the longest active streak in the National Football League. Now, I would be remiss to not mention the quarterbacks that they've been lucky enough to face in J.J. McCarthy and Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders in their past 2 games. But the 3 quarterbacks prior to that, Matthew Stafford, many people saying he's top 5 in the game right now. Caleb Williams has the Chicago Bears to 7 wins. Tua Tagovailoa, that one's kind of a toss-up. They haven't played the best. They haven't played – it's been middle, right? They played some good. They've played some really bad. But I'm just happy to see anything from this defense, frankly. And you're going up against a quarterback like we've talked about in Tyrod Taylor. But it's the weapons that you have to look out for when it comes to New York. Because the running back position, Breece Hall, he's a stud. Garrett Wilson, who I would usually be really worried about, he's on injured reserve. And then you look at their other receivers and tight ends. It's like John Mechie, Adonai Mitchell, who they just traded for, Mason Taylor in at tight end. And that's what's been so, rough about New York so far this season. Like, sure, Justin Fields hasn't been great, but who's he supposed to get the ball to? And with Garrett Wilson out, in my opinion, if you just get to Taylor, I believe you're going to be just fine as a defense. Now, I don't know if you keep them under 20 points. Frankly, I'd love to continue that streak. I'm not going to come out here and say they will. I'm not going to come out here and say they won't. But they're going to have a good shot against a backup quarterback with not that great of offensive weapons. Now, unfortunately, the Ravens pass rush, even though their other defense, the other parts of their defense has been getting better, the pass rush necessarily hasn't. They still rank bottom 3 in sacks, a little bit better in quarterback pressures. They're up to 21st. Quarterback pressure rate, still bottom in the National Football League, bottom 5 to be exact, with 28.9%. But still, at the end of the day, you're facing a team you should be with a backup quarterback with one of their best wide receivers out for the next couple of weeks. This should be a win. Coming up, the Baltimore Ravens, I don't know if you knew it. You probably didn't, because the dream lasted all but, probably 30 minutes. The Ravens almost made a big move today. I'll tell you what that is in just a second. But if you want to make a big move to your app store and download the Prize Picks app, I would advise you to do so, because if you sign up with our code, CLNS, you get $50 in lineups. All you got to do is play a $5 lineup. The hard-hitting action is better with our friends over at Prize Picks. There's a reason you're watching today's show. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Lamar Jackson's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. Follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like. Hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Here's my lineup for Monday Night Football: Raiders, Cowboys. Give me the more on Brock Bowers, 67.5 receiving yards. Give me the more on Javonte Williams, 73.5 rush yards. Think this one's going to be a little bit more higher scoring. That's why I'm going with the offense in my Prize Picks lineup. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. So just about 30 minutes after the news about Justin Fields, Jordan Schultz tweeted out that veteran defensive tackle Kalen Saunders has received strong interest from multiple teams after he got released last week by the Jacksonville Jaguars, including the Ravens, Colts, Jets, and Cardinals. Since being released, he'll begin taking visits and is expected to sign sooner rather than later. Well, that last part of the tweet was very, very correct. He chose the sooner, because just 43 minutes after that was tweeted, Tom Pelissero, he lets everybody know that Kalen Saunders is expected to sign with the New York Jets per sources. I would have loved, personally, a little bit more aggression from Eric DeCosta, John Harbaugh, and this Ravens front office to just try to beef up the interior of this defensive line just a little bit more. Over the past couple of weeks, they've only had like 4 active interior defensive linemen. And yeah, their defense has played a lot better, but I am all for adding as many big boys up in the trenches as you can possibly fit. And it's a little frustrating because Anais Peebles has found himself a healthy scratch over the past couple of weeks, and frankly, I don't know why. It feels like you're finally figuring things out with the healthy scratch portion of your offense and having to play Keaton Mitchell over the last couple of weeks and him being a really, really good addition to this offense when he's not dropping screen passes that go into the hands of Browns defenders. And now it feels like you're just having a guy on the defensive line and Anais Peebles, another younger player who's continually been healthy scratch, and I can't really figure out why that is. Seems like, to me, he was playing pretty well in the beginning of his season. He's a rookie. He should only be getting better through practice throughout this year, and feels like you're wasting a little bit of his reps when that's such a big area of need. It's not like you're just stacked in the interior. There are some defensive tackles that are available out there on the free agent market. Christian Wilkins, Deshaun Williams, Linval Joseph, Neville Gallimore, and Jeremiah Ledbetter. I think Linval Joseph would be the one I'm most interested in. From a talent perspective, Christian Wilkins really piques my interest, but I'm not really one to want to add an outside distraction to the locker room when a locker room's already had a lot of kind of chaos and turmoil after the start to this season. Deshaun Williams could interest me as well. Do the Ravens need to add at defensive tackle? Let me know. Give me a yes or a no in that comment section down below. Weigh in with your answer. And while you're down in there in that comment section, you'll find the links to my social media, Twitter, Instagram. Follow me on both platforms and subscribe to the channel.